Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I just wanted to do a little more in-depth tour of the new 1995 Supra. So this is actually my wife's Supra. You might notice different wheel on the car. I'll get into all that in a minute here. I just wanted to give you a little tour of everything, show you all of the positives, all the negatives, some of the weird things that were put on by the previous owner, probably in Japan, and just some other quirky stuff. So let's get started. So first, let's start with just the paint and the body overall. So this car only has 66,000 miles on it. For a 95, that's pretty low. My other Supra had 91,000 miles when we got it, and now it has about 96,000. So this car has 30,000 miles less than our other Supra. As you would expect, it's probably going to be in a little bit better shape. I also believe that this car was garage kept for either its entire life or for most of its life, and I can show you some of the reasons why I think that. So let's start here with the front of the car, and it does have some minor scratches. Might be kind of hard to see, but here, like when people go to lift the hood and they scratch it with their fingernails. But other than that, really not much concerns on the front bumper. And this is the stock lip, and those get cracked very easily. And I looked at this one in pretty good detail, and there's no scratches or cracks or anything. My other Supra had this exact same lip on it, and it had a huge crack on the front that was actually repaired, but the repair was not done very well. So it's nice to see that it's in good shape, and those are pretty expensive if you have to replace it. You might also notice that the car is fairly dirty. We still have not washed the car. We just picked it up yesterday. I wanted to do this kind of walk around video first before doing literally anything to the car. I haven't even taken any of the stickers off or anything. So looking at the hood, honestly, I don't see a single defect on the hood as far as dings or major scratches go. Looks like that's just a bug over there. One thing I did notice was right here, let me see if I can get a better angle of it. There's this weird stuff, but it's actually on top of the paint, and it goes over onto, actually, it looks like my wife was able to get a good amount of it off. It went over onto the fender as well, and it's pretty hard. I definitely want to be careful before starting to try and take that off, maybe do some research on what's the best way to loosen that up and get it off. Okay, so looking here near the wheel, there is some pretty bad scratches here. This is probably the worst part of the exterior of the car. It looks like either someone hit this car or they hit something else. But let's see if you can see it very well. There's pretty bad scratches on the side here, and then you can see that they kind of go this way. We might try and give it a nice buff and see if any of that will come out. But I'd say as far as, you know, issues on the exterior, that's probably the worst part. Another thing to mention is that the front bumper has no cracks right here. I don't think that this bumper has probably been taken off ever. Those cracks might happen just from taking it on and off a lot. We can talk about the wheels in a minute. And then, so now we're on the passenger door here, and this side of the car is perfect. I mean, you can see the reflection there. There's like no waves in the paint or anything. No dings on this side at all. There are a couple of really minor dings on the other side, which I'll show you here in a minute. Looking at this mirror, there's some minor scratches there, and there are some scratches here on this brake vent area. So more of that weird stuff that's sitting on top of the paint, so we can try and get that off. There are some very minor things here and there. More here, might be hard to see, but I mean, really cannot complain about all that. There's some more of that weird stuff that's sitting on top of the paint. One thing I also did check for when I went to look at the car is I looked under these weather seals here, and not a speck of rust, and this is a really high percentage like rust area on Mark IV Supras. It does have the Duncan Imports sticker, which is where we bought it. I love Duncan Imports, but you know, we can't have a sticker on the car, so we'll take that off. There's a scratch here, which is really interesting because the other Supra that we have has the exact same looking thing in the same spot. I feel like it has to do from putting on the license plate not very carefully and hitting the bumper. A little bit of a scratch there. I do have a theory that part of this car may have been repainted, but not the whole thing. Because if you look at this Supra badge, it's definitely crooked. The A is kind of higher up than the S. So I think that badge was replaced, which means that the hatch was probably repainted at some point. And if you look right here, it looks like there's a little bit of a drip from the paint that's dried up at the bottom. Nothing too major. Again, no rust under here. And now this is where you can probably see the door dings. Let's see. There's one right here. Let's see if you can see it. And then I think there's another one back here somewhere. But you really have to get down at eye level to see them. And then let's look at the roof. I think that's the last thing. No dings or anything. I mean, the roof just looks beautiful. And this is, of course, a hard top, which is the more common option in Japan. The other one that we have is a target top, so it's cool to have one of each. All right, so sticking with the exterior, let's talk about the wheels. So the wheels that came on this car, they're kind of a strange brand I'd never heard of. I had to Google them, and you can try and see the name there. I think it says Bond Sport, and it seemed like it was, I think it was a Japanese brand. I actually like the design of the wheels. Kind of remind me of BBS wheels. They might just be reps of those, but the quality of them seems nice. I don't know if they're actually three-piece or they're just made to look like they are, but my wife and I agree that we kind of like these wheels. They're 18s, and I'm pretty certain that the front had 18 by 8.5, and the back is probably 18 by 9.5. Now, the reason that there is one of my other Supra's wheels on the front right is because the tire on the wheel that was on the front right here had a huge bulge in it, and the car just could not drive normally. It was shaking like crazy. You probably saw it in my last video. We took the wheel off and we could see that the tire was completely deformed. I'll put a little clip of that in here. So we took this wheel off of my car, put it on this one, and it drives great. So now mine is on jack stands in the garage, but that's okay. We got 2 new tires coming for the front 2 wheels. The back tires are actually almost brand new, and the front tires were old. For some reason, they only replaced the rear. So we've got 2 new tires coming for the front. We'll get those put on, and then everything should be back to normal. The headlights on this car are the 93 to 96 version, and they're actually in really good shape. This is another reason why I think this car might have been garage kept. I don't know if it's too dark to see, but the chrome in there is completely like perfect. There's no peeling. They turn like brown and orange, almost looks like rust, which is kind of weird. And the lenses really aren't yellow at all either. They're super clear. There's no major chips in them or anything. But we actually have some brand new 97, 98 headlights that we're gonna throw in there, so stay tuned for that video. We just like how they look better, but these will be up for sale eventually, and I think I'll be able to recoup a lot of the cost of those. Those are like $900 lights. I know these are not worth as much, but they're a lot harder to find because you can't still get those ones new. You can only get the black ones. So if anyone prefers the look of those, they kind of have to buy them secondhand. All right, let's take a look inside the car. So this is the key that it came with. So it is actually a Toyota key. But it has an unlock and lock button on there. So I don't know if this was a factory option or something that was added later on. So if anyone has any information on that, please let me know. My other Supra just has a regular black Toyota key, but it does have an aftermarket keyless entry. So this is pretty cool if this is factory. It doesn't seem to have the best range. You have to be fairly close to it to work, but we'll go ahead and unlock it. So I know I showed some of the inside when we went to look at the car and when we bought it, but there are some interesting things in here that we are going to work on removing. But here, let me show you everything. So starting with the door cards, these are basically like the holy grail of Supra parts, and both of them are in perfect condition, which is great. Looking at the door jambs, these look really nice too. Still got these stickers here, so I don't think anything in here has ever been repainted. The seat works, which is cool. Mine doesn't work anymore. It has rubber floor mats, but when I saw that in the post when it was for sale, I was all disappointed about that because, you know, if you know anything about Supras, floor mats are ridiculously expensive. So I went to look at the car and I checked under the rubber floor mats, and it's got the Supra Pure Sport like OEM floor mats under here, and they look brand new. They don't look like anyone's ever stepped on them. So that's awesome. I told my dad when we went to look at the car, I said that's like finding a $500 bill under the floor mat. I was really excited about that. We're gonna take these out, but in the next video, we're gonna do just a whole video about removing everything out of this car that we don't want. So the floor mats, and then this thing right here, which is actually attached to the center console, wasn't even put on straight. It's just really stupid. I had no idea what it was until I pushed the button, and it's a cup holder. So it has 2 cup holders, but I would never trust this thing with any cups, especially in a Supra. We had a bottle of water in it earlier, which is fine because it has a cap on it, but I would never trust anything that could possibly get spilled. The center console works great. This is actually a rejection sticker that fell off, but they had to give us a rejection sticker, I guess because this car wouldn't pass Virginia inspection because of no airbags, and the seat belts apparently are different, but we're gonna register it as an antique, so it doesn't need to be inspected anyways. The seats are in perfect condition. You can see that there's a little bit of rippling here. I don't know if it was sewn back together here, but this part of the seat always ends up getting torn, but there's no stains or anything in it. The seat over here is also really nice, even nicer than the driver's seat. And then, I mean, this is the really nice part. The rear seats are immaculate. The top seam up there always gets torn on these, and these ones look really nice. I don't think anyone's ever sat back here, and I'm being serious. I really don't think anyone has ever sat in it. The steering wheel is really nice. Another reason why I think it was garage kept. It's not cracking or anything up here. It's in really great shape. Now, pretty much every Supra, the dash panels just get really gross over time and they have to be restored. So we are going to remove all these dash panels and paint them all. We'll sand them all down, paint them, and they're gonna look great. I did that on my other Supra, so I've got the experience. I know exactly how to do it. The handbrake and the automatic shifter, the leather on those are both perfect. Again, I know I keep talking about my other Supra, but mine was all torn up here, but this one's perfect. It does have an aftermarket head unit. Let me jump in the car here. Ugh. It has an aftermarket head unit, and everything's in Japanese. Here, let me just turn the key so you can see it. Oh, and look, the antenna just came up. All right, here we go. How do we get back to... Oh. Okay. But yeah, you can see all this down here is in Japanese. There's a lot of stuff up here in English. I mean, if you click on any of these buttons, so I don't even know what that just did. See, all that's Japanese. So really don't know how it works. It also has navigation. Yeah, see, there we go. So it thinks we're in the middle of the ocean, probably near Japan. Oh, that's cool. That's like a street view. I haven't really looked at this that much. My wife actually found out how to connect her phone to it. We were listening to music through it. I feel like we're still gonna end up replacing it. I might reach out to some audio companies and see if anyone's interested in sponsoring like the audio for this car. It's probably a long shot, but I think we'll do a brand new head unit and maybe some speakers too. I haven't really tested out the speakers to see how loud they get or how good they sound. Also, I don't even know if they've been replaced. They might actually be aftermarket because it does have a subwoofer in the trunk and it has this head unit. And then there you can see that it has 107,000 kilometers, which is 66,000 miles. The gauge cluster is in perfect shape. You may have seen in my last video that the lights on this are super bright. They look really nice. The needles light up really well. My other car, they're all dim and crappy looking. This one looks awesome. It's got a couple of cool factory options. So it's got the folding mirrors.
No, I haven't been this.
Are you listening to something?
I got a hunk of moussaka caught in my throat.
It's playing through the speakers. She was probably watching TikTok. Anyways, if you push that, you can see the mirrors fold in. So it's got folding mirrors. Back over here, it does have this on-off switch. I haven't figured out what that does yet. I don't really want to push it too much because I don't know for sure. I will have to figure out what that is, and we're gonna end up removing it, and we'll replace it with one of these blanks. Now, the steering column cover on these cars breaks like crazy, and this one is great. It's in perfect shape. It's not rattling or loose or anything, which is really nice. Mine has been broken like 3 times and I keep repairing it, and now it's just like full of JB weld. This one is really nice, so super happy about that. The dash, there's 0 cracks in the dash. I don't think that's really common for Supras. I think it's more of like a Nissan thing. This dash is really great. Okay, now you're probably wondering, you've probably been asking this whole time, what is going on right here? Well, this is a television, I am pretty sure. I looked up this model number, and I'm pretty sure this is a TV. It's got a little antenna that comes out too. There we go, so antenna extends like that. Yeah, I think someone installed a TV in here so they can watch TV while they drive, or who knows what they were doing. It's all in Japanese on the side. It's kind of cool. I mean, like, you know, as far as vintage electronics go, I don't want it in the car. We don't know exactly how it's attached, and you can see some wires running up under the dash here. So this is going to be probably the first thing that we remove in the next video. I don't know if like people who are into vintage electronics would care about this thing at all, but you never know. You'd be surprised. And since this is a hardtop, it has the hardtop headliner, but what I would like to know, if anyone has any idea, were the hardtops all this like leather material? Because on the Target top, mine is cloth. It's like a gray cloth. I don't know if this was just an upgrade, or I don't think this was, you know, reupholstered or anything. So please let me know if you have a right-hand drive hardtop, or even a left-hand drive hardtop. Let me know if your headliner is kind of this like leather material. And, you know, the sun visors are as well. This one is the one with the mirror. Okay, so it's got a little microphone here for a, right here, for a hands-free device, which is funny. It's the exact same microphone that the other Supra has, and it's going into the pillar here. I'm sure we could probably get that removed. I don't think it's gonna bother us too bad for now. I would also like if anyone could give me some more information on these things right here. So you see that little thing with a wire coming out of there, and then there's like a wire sticker on the windshield there and there. And then there's one there, there's another one there, and another one there. So my first thought was it was some kind of weird like windshield defroster. I don't know if that's possible, but like, you know, when you look at a defroster on like a rear windshield, it has wires going across the glass which heat up and heat the windshield up. So I wasn't sure if that had anything to do with what this was, or my other thought was, is it like a satellite radio antenna? Because satellite radio antennas used to look like that too, but I don't know why they'd have 4 of them. Or it could have something to do with this little TV. I don't know. So if anyone has any idea, please let me know. And then of course, since this is a JDM Supra, it's got 2 glove boxes. Both of them work great, and you actually can open it with the TV still there. It doesn't hit the TV. So there's no airbags on the passenger seat. Looks like this doesn't stay open all the way. As long as the latch closes, that's all I care about. And lastly, there's this little sensor right here with a wire running into the dash. I was thinking maybe some kind of easy pass or like parking garage sensor, or I don't know. So if anyone has an idea of what that is, please leave a comment. So it does have a license plate bracket on the front, and it's actually a JDM one. You can see it's like super wide. So we'll have to replace that with the US one. I did check though, a American license plate is going to cover both of the holes. I just didn't want any of the holes in the bumper to be exposed. Now this was interesting. We don't like these at all, but it has mud flaps, and I looked it up. I think these were actually some kind of factory option that were made by Toyota, and they look pretty easy to remove. So maybe if anyone's interested in those, we can sell them. I did look on Supra forums, and I saw a few forum posts about people asking if anyone had some for sale, so maybe someone wants them. They're really small. They don't really, like, you can't notice them that much, but I definitely don't like the look of them, and my wife agrees, so it's her car. Whatever she wants will go, and she agrees with me that they are not the best looking thing. The antenna here is in great shape, and it actually still works perfectly. So when you turn the car on, it comes all the way up, and then you turn the car off, it goes all the way down, which is a big deal because the one on my car didn't work at all. However, I don't think we're gonna keep it like that because it looks really stupid driving around with the antenna up. So we either might just open up the like side plastics inside the hatch and just unplug it, or just completely delete it and sell it. And on the back we see that it still has the 93 tail lights, and these are actually in really nice shape. My other Supra definitely was not garage kept, and the like red in here and the yellow, it was all peeling really bad. It's actually just a film over like a silver like plastic, I guess, and it was peeling horribly. These are in awesome shape, and the lenses aren't discolored or anything. I personally prefer the 97 to 98 taillights. I think they look great, especially on the Alpine silver paint, so we'll see what my wife wants to do. But for now, I mean, you know, they don't really need to be replaced too soon because they already look fine, so might just keep them like that for a while. We'll see what she wants to do. All right, so let me show you the antenna working again. Another obvious thing I forgot to mention is that this car is a completely like stock body. There's no side skirts, no rear spats. A lot of the JDM Supras have those JDM style side skirts, which are nice. I love them on my car, but I think it's cool to have one that's also kind of the stock body look. So we'll have one of each, which I like. And lastly, it still has the stock exhaust. This car actually, other than the wheels, has 0 modifications, so no performance modifications at all. It has stock suspension, stock exhaust. It doesn't have an intake or anything under the hood, so that's pretty cool. This car is super quiet compared to the other Supra, which is hilarious. It just sounds like a regular car. So we're definitely gonna make it loud, don't worry. We'll get exhaust, maybe some headers, try to get it sounding like the other car because it's just a little too quiet. And also, since it's on stock suspension, the inside of the quarter here, like the fender lips and stuff, they look really nice. There's no damage. It doesn't look like the tires have ever really rubbed on them. I think they possibly could if the car was too low. It's really not that aggressive of an offset. I actually think the fitment of these wheels is perfect for like the style that I like. I don't like when they're too wide and they are sticking out, or even when they're perfectly flush with the car. It just makes me nervous about damaging the body. So I think the fitment of these look pretty good. If I had to guess, I'd say these are probably 9.5 inches wide and maybe like a plus 35 offset. I have 9.5s on the rear of my car and they're plus 30, and I think they stick out just a tiny bit more, so I think these are probably plus 35. Taking a look at the engine bay, my first thoughts when I first saw it was that it's super clean and there's 0 modifications in here. But you can see it's got the stock air box. Everything is all OEM, and there's 0 rust. Like sometimes some rust will happen in here. You can see that there's no damage. Doesn't look like there's been any accidents at all, which, I mean, you can already tell just from looking at the body, but it's nice looking in here and seeing no issues. It does have the little insulation up here, which is cool because the other Supra we have is missing that, and I think a lot of Supras end up missing that thing. It definitely needs a belt right here. This belt is looking old. Probably also needs a timing belt. Timing belt's supposed to be done at 60,000 miles, and it's got 66,000 miles. So I kind of doubt that the previous owner did it. Badly needs a new air filter, so we should actually pick one of those up today. And everything else looks really good. Can we not, please? Hey. Ah, gross. And lastly, let's look in the hatch area here. So this is the subwoofer I was talking about earlier. It actually has a built-in amp. I was reading what it says here, built-in amplifier. So this is, I don't know, it could be a nice unit. I tried finding it online to see if they sell for anything. What I was worried about was if they cut any holes into the trunk mat or anything, because if you know anything about these trunk mats, they're super expensive. But when you lift it up, it sounds like it's velcroed to the trunk mat. So we'll work on getting that off. What's funny is the wiring under here. Look at this. Just a mess of wires. And it does have all the tools, which is great, and it's got the jack and everything on the other side. And I think those wires are running up through the center console and into the head unit, so we'll work on getting that removed. We don't want this subwoofer in here at all. And then really the only thing else I can think of is this weird Velcro thing here. We got to remove that. We don't want that sitting on the seat like that. It looked like it was going to peel up pretty easily. One thing you always want to check for with Supras is all these plastic pieces, because these are super expensive. A lot of the clips break and sometimes they'll be cracked or whatever. I haven't seen any issues, knock on wood, but that's everything in the trunk area that I can think of. All right, that's everything that I can think of that I wanted to show you all. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you're excited to see some more videos on this car. Stay tuned for the next video where we're going to be removing some of those weird things I told you about. We're actually going to start working on that now. But make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.